you have everything. Software knowledge, you just need to put in the action. And when we're talking about action, I wanted to ask you, Mike Filsaime, how did you come to an idea of about tackling this software solution problem that is out in the world? How did you come up with an idea? I will do 15 different apps in 1 year. How can somebody think about something like that?
Well, I would love to tell you, that it's all a grand strategy, but it's really not. It's more fortuitous. There was a lot of things that happened in good fortune that allowed us to double down and parlay and double down and parlay. There was not a grand vision to have a company, Groove Digital, led by Groove Funnels. Not even until probably 4 months after we decided to do Groove Pages. So, so I'll give you a little history though, and very, very short. The fact that I thought that I knew it was possible when the opportunity was time to be seized was because I had created Webinar Jam, EverWebinar, and Kartra. Those, especially the first two products, prior was Evergreen Business System, which was an SaaS. And so I had created the second largest webinar platform in the world and the largest automated webinar platform in the world. And, then we were creating Kartra, and, as just to be frank, partnerships are like marriages. There are good times and hugs and a lot of love to go around, and everything needs to really work well. And unfortunately, because of the dynamic of me being a person that was in the car business and left the car business for two things: financial freedom, but also the freedom to create my own vision. When I brought on a third partner into that company, I already had Webinar Jam in the works and Evergreen Business System and Deal Guardian, which was already being morphed into Kartra. And when I brought on a third partner, I ended up becoming a third partner in that company. Which is all fine, but the control factor that I had in the last, at that time, over 10 years running MikeFilsaime.com and being able to say, hey, this is what we're doing, and pushing things to the limit so much that it would scare, people in my company. Oh, you're moving too fast. You're doing this. And I'm like, no, this is the vision. This is how we're going to go. There was a new dynamic now. The late, great Andy Jenkins, he passed away. And Andy was also a force of nature of his own. He was a brilliant marketer. And there were essentially two CEOs, and I had a vision for the way that, imagine, you've heard these stories a million times. There's a person that writes a screenplay. He wants to be the writer, the director, and then all of a sudden he gets to go to make the movie, and Hollywood is saying, no, we want to make it this way. And and then, somebody says, this is no longer my vision. This is no longer the way that I want it to be. I no longer have any power here. And, those types of things, led to, me getting a buyout. I said, this is no longer fun. This is no longer my vision. I took a buyout. I had a 2-year non-compete. Now, at that time, when I sold the company, it was devastating in terms of production for me. I had built an incredible development team in Romania, people that were with me since 2003, and that had developed into an incredible development team. And I also had some incredible people that were part of MikeFilsaime.com that got absorbed into that company. So when I took my buyout, it was great. I had 2 years to come up with a master plan to conquer the world, and think what you want. That's not the case. Here was the case. There was a 2-year non-compete that was so strong that I joked. This is the joke that I make, that if I had a dream about internet marketing, I would have violated my non-compete, and I didn't want to do anything to jeopardize getting my my buyout. At the same time, if I was to speak at an event or a mastermind, I had to ask them, do me a favor, this cannot be recorded. We had to tell people in the room, please don't keep this recorded. I didn't know if anything I would say would violate my non-compete. So I disappeared for 2 years. And 2 years is a long time. At that point, from 2016, the buyout, to 2018, ClickFunnels was on the rise. I'm out of the scene for a while. And quite frankly, transparently telling everybody here, I went through when I look back now, I went through a major, major state of depression. And that's why, if people ask, hey, Mike, this is your dream. Are you the type of person? There's a lot of different ways that people have been talking, about our company and me as the CEO, that Mike likes to start things and abandon them, which that is totally not the case. I mean, you look at my track record, that's never happened. Nothing was abandoned ever. Webinar Jam, ever Webinar Culture went on to do some incredible things. That was my vision, very much like Steve Jobs had with the Macintosh, the Lisa computer and the Macintosh, and then found himself, because of a power struggle, outside of his own company, and he created Next Computer. So Groove to me is creating Next Computer, and I can promise everybody here, I've spoken with my partners about this. We have these types of talks. Would you sell for 100 million? I'm like, no. I mean, we're worth more than 100 million now. How about $250 million? How about $1 billion? Would you sell for $1 billion? I said, would Steve Jobs sell for any amount of money? That's the question. I mean, literally, could you have walked to Steve Jobs when he's sitting there and he's in the boardroom and he's leaning back and he's going like this? So this is the first prototype of the iPhone. This is great. Let's make it do this. And somebody walked in and said, Steven, here's 15 suitcases, each filled with $1 billion. Do you think that Steve, at that point in his life, probably, 53 years old when they were first starting to come out with the iPhone, which is my age right now, would have said, yeah, let me take all the money. I have everything that I want in my life. I make very, very good money. You know what I drive? We have one car, not two cars. We have one car. It's a 2018 Honda Accord, fully loaded, a nice $40,000 Honda Accord. But I don't have a second vehicle, and I'm looking every single day to buy one. But you know why I don't have a second vehicle? Because I work from home and I don't need one. The car sits in the garage most of the time, and we love it. So I've traveled the world. I've had Nissan GTRs. I've had Corvettes. I've had Hummer H2s. I've been to Iceland and Dubai and Malaysia and Sydney and New Zealand and Hawaii and Fiji. I've done everything there is to do in life. And what I do know is that what I love every single day is the team that we have, partners that we have. It's creating what we have in Groove. And I have no intentions. This company is built to last. It is not built to flip. I have zero desire to get a buyout. And one of the things I can tell you why, when I said I had went through a depression, you want to put an entrepreneur into a state of depression, give that person money and tell them they can't work. That's essentially what happened to me when I got my buyout. I got a very, very good buyout, and I was told I couldn't work. So I was the guy that could tell you shows deep in Amazon Prime. Hey, have you heard of this? Yeah, I've heard of this. I stopped watching it after 3 episodes. It's not as good as it. I knew everything about every show. I became a loser that was staying up until 7 a.m. in the morning. Picture it, literally eating cupcakes from Hostess and Twinkies and Doritos. And I took up smoking, and I was going through, am I going to be able to be relevant again? And now there's a year left, and now there's 3 months left, 6 months left. And then at that time, Andy had gotten cancer, and I've got 6 months to go before I need to start my own company. And I'm like, okay, time to shake off all this stuff and let's get going here now. And I get a phone call from Andy, and he says, hey, brother, hey, how's it going? And listen, there's something I want to tell you. I said, listen, Andy, I know that nobody knows that you have cancer. I said, but I do know. And he laughed. He goes, oh, you do? How's that? I said, I was talking with Donna the other day, and there was just something wrong. And all I did is I said, what's wrong? And she burst out into tears. And he goes, oh, cool. So, well, then I don't have to tell you, So I said, yeah. So I know that you've got your your surgery and you're recovering. And basically he was going to the 5-year remission. And he said, listen, right now, Mike, I look like Jim Carrey, and everybody knows me as this big Andy Jenkins, and I'm doing better, but we're not sure if I want to go back out on camera. And Hector's not the type of person, that can get in front of the camera. So I'm wondering, would you want to come and do the Kartra launch for us? Now, I wasn't even part of the company anymore. Nothing to do with it. I'm getting my buyout. And we never made a formal announcement. Every single time I'd walk into a room, people would say, how's Webinar Jam doing? I said, well, technically I'm not part of it. Really? How come I never heard? So yeah, we didn't feel we needed to go out there and make an announcement. It was just something that, I silently walked away from the company. It wasn't a secret. We would certainly tell people, but it was nothing that we went out of our way to make an announcement. So I said to Andy, Andy, I've got 6 months left before I got to start my own company. And if I do this launch, people are going to associate me with Kartra, and I'm going to be using a lot of my cachet to reach out to people like Jeremy Gislason, who was our #1 affiliate for Kartra. I said, I'm going to be asking all these people, and then like months later, I need to start doing something for myself here because my buyout ends, and it's time I've got 6 months. And I just heard him go, oh, well, and then I said, what am I doing? My friend has cancer. He's asking me to help. This is my first child. You know what, Andy, don't worry about it. I'm going to help you with it. So I come back and I actually do the Kartra launch, and I'm doing the JV videos, and I'm actually in video one. And there was some weird things that, that happened. Frank Kern was possibly going to come into the company and buy into the company. And he ended up being in video 2 and video 3. And then at the very, very end of that, I'm at Omar Martin's event in Orlando, and there's John Cornetta, Matt Serralta, and they see me, and I'm this, the star of the show. Mike's, here's Mike. He's, I'm it's like Joe Biden, right? I'm out of the basement, right? I'm out of the basement now after 2 years, and I show my face, and everybody wants to come, and they want to talk to me, and I'm on stage, and I'm kind of like the star. It felt great. And John Cornetta, who I know, and Matt Serralta, who I've never met before, come up and they say, it's a great job with what you did with Kartra. Too bad you're with Kartra. We would love to have you to do something with our e-commerce platform. And I just said, there were some people around. I said, well, I'm not with Kartra. And they just looked at me like I was crazy. I said, and then I explained the story. So I brought them up to speed on what you all know right now. And they said, so you're not with Kartra? I said, no. And they said, what are you going to do right now? And this is 100% true, folks. I believe that Kartra had everything in my brain, and it took 7 years to compete, and Webinar Jam and Ever Webinar, right? Now I'm Mike Filsaime. I have no programmers. I have nobody. If I need to build a web page or install a WordPress blog, I have to do it. I have 0 people on my team. So I say to John and Matt, well, I think that, Kartra, ClickFunnels, Webinar Jam, Ever Webinar have the digital marketing space. By the time I do something, it's going to take me 3 to 4 years. They're going to have another 3 to 4 years. That was my thinking at the time, right? So that's why I wanted you to know it's not something that I would have been that bold at that time. So I said to them, what I think can be done is every industry has a Coke and a Pepsi. So I try to look at somebody that there's a Coke in the marketplace that has no Pepsi. And right now, I believe Shopify is the Coke without a Pepsi. So I'm going to develop a Shopify competitor. And they lost their mind. Oh, my God. We have something called Ultra Fun Cart. Let me take a look at it. I said, okay, look, I'm flying home. Let's do a call. We get on a call, and we do a demo. And my knee is like tapping with nerves as I'm watching this. I'm like, oh, my God, this is the base of the start of a company. And I say to Matt, I said, let me tell you, first off, this user interface sucks. And, this is the most horrible user interface I've ever seen. And number one, I don't like the name Ultra Fun Cart. No. And, I said to him, let me come up with something that we can build a brand out of. And he didn't even hear what I said. Look at that logo behind David. Look at that logo right over here. This is a brand, right? And this is something that I said to myself, we have to go out. We're going to create a brand. So I'm not kidding here. Again, there was nothing that was strategic about Groove. Again, completely fortuitous. It's when we've all done this before. We're like, male chimp. Okay. Chimp, monkey. Oh, that's taken. How about orange gorilla? And I'm joking, right? I'm coming up with stupid ideas, but there is no domain name in the world that you can get today. They're all taken. We've all done it. You come up with this idea and you're like, okay, nobody, who in the world has that since 2009, right? And that's what we do when you can't get a .com anymore. It's nearly impossible. So I looked up groovecart.com. They were selling it for $2,500. It wasn't something I was going to convince the partners to spend $2,500 for right away. So we bought Groovecart with a K, K-A-R-T. And the reason why I brought Groovecart is because I saw that Groove Mail, Groovecart, Groovesell, Groove, all of these things, I'm not going to say they weren't available. There was nobody using them. And they were for sale or they were parked. And I said, okay, I'm going to silently go out and start buying these domains. We've spent over $125,000 on domains for the Groove brand. We bought Groove Funnels. We bought GroovePay for $5,000. We bought, Groove ads. Somebody right now wants $10,000 for Grooveplex, because we want to put it on the top of our building. And I'm like, dude, I could get the .net for $8. Have a nice day, right? But and it was purchased recently. I think I had mentioned Grooveplex, so I don't know, who might be trying to get $10,000 from us. So essentially, I was secretly going out and campaigning to the partners. I'm going to spend $2,500 today. We just made some money on Groove Mail, but I'm going to buy it over 12 payments, $250 a month. And we have all of these different domains that we were paying, $250 a month. So at that you could say, yes, I had this vision that that was coming. But so let me bring us back now to the conversation with Matt and John. Now understand this, Matt's been working on Groovecart for 2 years. He's got the code base to a shopping cart that can compete with Shopify. It doesn't look good. It's going to need a lot of help in the user interface, a lot of ideas, a lot of branding. And by the way, I think he had 6 customers in 2 years, right? Because he's a developer. He's not a marketer. And that's why he's showing up at events. And if we can learn anything about why we need to step out of our comfort zone and do networking, go to events, because you meet people. I met people that changed my life. Matt Serralta changed my life. He brought an opportunity to me at the right time. And I certainly changed his life, and John Cornett as well. So at this point, we get on a call, and now it's time to talk business. And now picture this from Matt Serralta's point of view. He has a company that he has 100% of. What do you think he's probably willing to give up in his mind? 40%. So I said, I probably have an idea what you're looking for, Matt. Why don't you tell me? And he said 60% for him and 40 for me and John, and I would get 20 and 20. And he doesn't know me from a hole in the world. And I said, well, here's the deal, Matt. Here's what I've done. I've created Webinar Jam, EverWebinar, and I'm going to create the next Shopify, and I'm going to have 100% of that company. So there's no way that I'm going to do something where you're going to have 60% and I'm going to have 20%. But I'll tell you what. I'm going to do something that to you is going to seem ridiculous and to me seems more than fair. I'm not going to do this unless we're 3-way partners. We're going to put some things in the contract that protect me with CEO and control, because I'm not going to let happen what happened in my last company, because I'm not a majority shareholder. That doesn't mean that I can't have voting rights and different things like that. So I said, I want to be a third partner. I saw him go, well, no, I cannot give up 66% of my company. And I said to him, here's why you want to do that. You need to go research who I am, what I've done. There's an expression you've seen on Shark Tank that you'd rather have 33% of a watermelon than 60% of a grape. Here's what I'm going to bring to the table. I've done this before. I'm going to do it with or without you. Can you say the same without me? I'm not asking for a penny more, and I'm not asking you to take a penny less. I want to be equal partners, because here's what's going to happen. I'm going to do so well for this company that if you're making more money than me, I'm going to come to resent it every single day. and I'm going to be talking to my spouse about it, saying, you know how much money I'm making for this guy, and you don't want that. And he says, I don't think that we're going to be able to do it. I said, hey, look, we had a conversation. It's great. Let me let you sleep on it. John called him back and said, dude, you're crazy, an opportunity to work. No, you know, he had this, you've seen it on Shark Tank, right? He didn't understand the full potential. And look, and I'm talking a lot of, you know, smack right now, right? You know, I'm saying I'm going to do this, but at the same time, I've also got my you know, my own little things talking in the back of my head, like, you know, hey, this is not going to be easy, but I got to get at least a third, right? I mean, when you look at it at that point, you're like, that would be insane for me not to have that. I'm hoping, you know, those of you that know me are saying, hey, that was a good deal for everybody. So Matt calls me back the next day, completely excited. What am I doing? I'm crazy. Yes, let's do it. Cool. 2 days later, I'm in Boca Raton. I meet John. I meet Matt. We officially form the company, GrooveCart LLC. On Simon, I'm going to let you say this date. What was that date?
August 5th,
August
2019.
5th, 2018. So here's why that's significant. I quit the car business August 5th, 2004. Simon Leung quit Google August 5th, 2006 when he heard my story. John Cornetta's birthday is August 5th. And just by chance, GrooveCart LLC happened to be formed on August 5th of 2019. So August 5th is a pretty big day in our company. So now, to answer your question, David, and those of us just joining, you know, Mike, how did you come up with this idea for GrooveFunnels? So now we've got to launch GrooveCart. There is no GrooveFunnels. We're doing GrooveCart, and I'm seeing that we have the ability to basically make like the Amazon checkout process or the Shopify checkout process. But if you want to sell a drone, you can't sell your drone on Amazon with 6 tiles, images, a little video, little description, and an add to cart button. You actually need a website. So the thing that really came to me to explain this to my partners and to everybody, and what I did a lot of demos, was when you look at a company like DJI, who does the Sparks and the drones. DJI has, you know, now they're competing with GoPro. They actually have a website with rich content like Apple. But when then you go to buy something, you go to store.dji.com or shop.apple.com or store.apple.com. So there's a checkout process, which is the Shopify process, but there was nothing to actually build a website with. And you can't build, you know, a full branded website with, you know, something like ClickFunnels. So you were going to need to either integrate with WordPress and build a website. And nobody was doing that. Nobody was really doing that. So I told the partners, we're going to name this thing GrooveCart. What's going to make us different is that we're going to have this page builder that you could actually build a page builder. And they said, where are we going to get that? We started talking to different people. And Simon, can you mute there if you don't mind? We're getting a little clanking and clicking. So, or if you're ready, it's all good. So I said I'm going to go out and I'm going to see if we can acquire some page builder technology for rapid development. And this is what leads to Groove now, right? So I remember when we were looking for Kartra to create our page builder. Hector wanted to do it all in Bootstrap. Bootstrap was all the rage back then. So I kept bringing him some page builders that I found on Code Canyon that we could have a starter drag and drop. That's what we needed. We needed an interface. And everything I brought to him, he said, no. So I finally found one and I brought it to him. And I said, let's see if we can buy it from this guy. We get the guy on the phone. His name happens to be Matt now, so I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. This is 2013 or 2014. With the previous company, and we get Matt Nouse on a call, and I'm on that Skype call, and I say hi. I don't have much to talk to him. I'm not asking him to become my partner or anything. I'm asking basically if we can buy the technology. He gives me the Heisman right away. I'm not selling. So Hector takes over the call, asks all the question about technology, and then Matt Nouse basically says, "I won't sell you the technology. I will license you the technology." So Matt Nouse licenses the technology to Kartra. I'm going to fast forward a little note that I like to say with a smile on my face. When we brought Matt into our company, we bought that intellectual property. So now I own the intellectual property that I now license Kartra's technology to them. And I like to say that. It's like my little win. So Matt basically says, if you hire me, you must hire me. I want a 2-year contract, and I'm gonna develop Kartra pages for you, but I retain the rights to the software, and I can do what I want with it on the end. So what Matt was doing while he was developing that, he started planning an idea for something like his own Kartra pages. I had no idea about this. So now from 2014 to 2016, he's with Kartra. His contract is up. I don't know if they asked him to stay or whatever the case was, but basically they said, hey, can you find your replacement? He ends up finding a front-end developer who actually has more, Matt will tell you, actually, when it comes to the development end of it, was a wizard above Matt's ability. Matt was really impressed by this guy called Finn. So Finn finishes Kartra pages over the next 2 years, 4 years of development in Kartra pages. So now, fast forward back to GrooveCart. I'm like looking for stuff, and all of a sudden I come across this site called PageStead. And for $2,500, they are selling you, basically, this is Matt Nouse, instead of starting a competitor to Kartra and ClickFunnels, he created a company that says, build your own SaaS. Build your own Groove pages. Build your own Kartra pages. Go out and compete. He created the software to allow you to have your own page builder. I saw this and I said, this is great. I'm going to buy it. And immediately we called it GrooveCart Studio. And then Matt had this list of all of this stuff. And I'm researching. He only has 2 or 3 developers. One of them is doing support. He's got this list of stuff that needs to be done. I know what needs to be done more than him in my head. Like it needs this, it needs countdown timers, it needs pop-ups, all the stuff that it needed. And I'm seeing it in the wrong places in the timeline. So I have a choice. Do I fork the code and start developing it? And then he starts developing it. I like what he's doing, but I can no longer merge because that's called forking the code. So I start talking the partners into, we're going to fork the code. And so, David, to answer your question, this is where the idea for Groove pages came from. Nothing else, just Groove pages. And at this point, I'm like, we could take this code and make it Groove pages. But I don't know that we're going to be able to compete with ClickFunnels. If many of you know GrooveCart Studio, it was cool. But it wasn't necessarily a page and funnel builder, and it wasn't going to be Kartra pages, not for a while. So I had the idea, maybe we'll sell for $497 a year, right? So my thing is, this has nothing to do with Matt Nouse at this time. My thing at this point is, I'm going to build this brand, and it's going to be good for about 6 months to a year, and then we're going to get exposed. GrooveCart Studio, Groove pages, somebody's going to show up one day and go, Mike Filsaime didn't create Groove pages. You could buy this at pagestead.com for $2,500, and anybody can have a Groove pages. And I started thinking, oh, this is going to be bad, because even now that I'm going to fork the code and I'm going to have 2-3 years of development into it, people are going to look and say, well, that's the base of it, and I could buy it for $2,500. And I actually saw a threat to anybody else having this code if I built this thing to be too big. So I call up Matt Nouse. I researched for 3 days trying to find out who this guy was. He went by the name Chili Orange online. And I was fortunate enough to find this one thing where there was an email address, and I basically wrote him one of these, Matt, I'm not sure if you remember me, but here's blah, 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 blah. And I basically said, if I'd like to get on a call and explore opportunities to either buy PageStead or see if you want to do a partnership. So I called Matt Nouse and I told him straight up, you did the wrong thing. Creating a SaaS is not allowing you to focus on building the page builder. You're building the back end and cron jobs for people's payments and upgrading members. He goes, I know, and I think I did the wrong thing. And I said, so here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to bring you in as the 4th and final partner of GrooveCart, but we're going to start a company essentially called Groove Digital. And GrooveCart will be on e-commerce, and Groove pages will handle digital marketing, and we're going to compete with ClickFunnels. And I basically did the same pitch now, and now I'm starting to get excited. I'm pitching him the way I pitched Matt. do you know who I am, what I've done? Yes, of course, Mike. Yeah, well, look, the reason why Kartra is this, because these were my original ideas. I had Deal Guardian, and we were going to call it Deal Guardian Enterprise, but we rebranded it to Kartra. But then, there were other partners that had come in, but Webinar Jam, EverWebinar, these were my ideas. And he said, so what are you saying? I'm saying you're going to go from 100% of your company down to 25%. You'll become an equal partner with me, John, and Matt. And we are going to take your technology and we're going to compete with ClickFunnels. How much of a company do you think they are? And he says, I don't know, probably 5 million. And I said, no, ClickFunnels is $100 million a year company. And I remember hearing him say, bullshit. And I said, excuse me? He goes, no, I'm not saying that you're bullshitting me. I just, that wasn't reaction. He was like, no way. That company, I heard of them. They're a $100 million company. I said, yes. I said, so there is huge potential here. Hey, Michelle. And he says, but how are we going to take on a $100 million a year company? I said, don't focus on them. Look, there's Coke, there's Pepsi, there's Snapple, there's Dr. Pepper. Don't worry. We don't have to be number one. We can compete. We can have our USPs. And trust me, I know how to market. I know how to brand. And I have some ideas what we can do with the software that can make us stand out. So he ends up saying something along the lines of, I have 3 things. Let me think about it. He calls me back the next day, and I'm nervous because I really want to do a deal with Matt. And I know asking him to come in to go from 100% to 75% from people he's never heard of before is a big ask. But again, you see from my point of view, people are like, are you kidding? You gave this guy equal partnership with you, Mike? but for me, I've always told people like my father, like, yeah, how come, your partnerships? And I'm like, Dad, we're in the business of making chicken noodle soup. I may be the chicken, but the other partner's the broth and the other partner's the noodle. And if the industry wants chicken noodle soup, I can't make chicken noodle soup without these people. Even if I'm the protein. And I don't even look at myself as, quote, the protein. I look at myself as equal partners with my partners. They're wonderful people. So now Matt now says 3 things. I need 3 things in order to make this done. And I swear to you, the first 2 were so inconsequential. I'm going to joke. It might have been like, we need to use Slack. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. It was like the first 2 are so ridiculous. I don't remember. The third one was just simply this. I need to meet you. I cannot be partners with people I haven't met in person. So I want to fly out and meet you. And he was in Florida 3 days later. And when I picked him up at the airport, I said, you've been to the States before? He says, no, this is my first time. So he had never even been to the States before. In 3 days, he came down, he met me, Matt, and John, and we formed Groove Digital. Now, 2 weeks later, as we start talking about development, we start talking about Kartra. We don't know each other that well. And I don't know the history of the Kartra pages. And I'm like, oh, so you weren't there for that. He says, no. I started PageStead in 2016 after I left. I said, so who picked up Kartra pages after that? He says, oh, a brilliant programmer, a guy named Finn. And I said, what's he doing? He says, we talk every 6 months. Let me hit him up. I believe I think his contract may be ending soon. I said, well, look, maybe, if he's going to be leaving Kartra soon. So he hits up Finn and it's like, hey, Finn, how are you doing? Finn's response is, my contract ended with Kartra 2 weeks ago. I'm looking for a job. If you know of anybody that's looking, let us know. So Matt tells me, you're not going to believe this. He says, Finn's not cheap. He's going to come with a good price, but we need to get him. And I said, okay, let's get him. Hurry up before anybody else talks to him. He might be talking to people on another site. Let's lock this up. So they start working together. And about a week later, Mike, we want to have a call with you. Okay, cool. Let's get on a Skype call. What's up? I'll do my Matt Nouse impression. Listen, I can't do a German accent or a Dutch accent that well, so I'll just talk. Finn and I were talking, and we want to scrap the code, drag it to the recycle bin. Essentially, that's what I said. No, we're not trashing the code. Matt, I partnered with you because you have this intellectual property. He says, no, we want to start from the ground up. And I literally, guys, I'll do my impression. I was like, guys, don't do this to me. Please, you do not know what you are embarking on. We have a code base. Do not do this. You want to start like from scratch or reinterpret this? No. Start from scratch. Okay. Talk to me. Well, this was built on Bootstrap. You know how Kartra, when you build a big page? Yes, I do. And you know how that breaks. And now I'm like, now they're selling me. And I'm seeing what Groove Pages is today. They're telling me this is what we can do. And Finn or Matt said to me, Mike, and this is in our original Kickstarter video. One of them said to me, Mike, you can either be another Me Too page builder, or you could leapfrog anything on the market today. There'll never be anything like it. And I just like smiled. And I said, okay, guys, new technology, Vue.js, Tailwind, publishing pages, SSL, all this type of stuff. I said, okay, it's a page builder. It can do this. It's going to do this. And now I know when you start dreaming big about software, that's really, really scary. So I said, you guys can't do this alone. What is it going to take? Well, we've already spec'd it out. On top of us, we're going to need $25,000 a month, and it's going to take us about 4 months. And I said, $100,000. You know, guys, it's not going to take 4 months. If it's going to take 4, it's going to take 8. And if it takes 8, it's going to take 10. And 10 is going to be 12. This is a 1-year project. And no. I said, guys, I've done this before. You all know we're going to dream bigger, and it's going to become something bigger than what it is. And we're going to come up with ideas. So here's what I'm going to do. Give me 24 hours. I'm going to talk to the partners because we're going to need $50,000 a month to do this. And quite frankly, that's about what Groove Card is doing right now, $50,000 to $75,000 a month, $50,000 a month in profit. It's going to take all of our profits. So unless we're going to get one of us to invest into the company or get an investor, I need to think about this, because if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. So I call the partners, and we go through all the stuff, but we finally agree that it needs to be right. And I said, here's my idea. Let's do a Kickstarter. And I'm not talking about what we saw happen. I meant we're going to go on Kickstarter. And then we said, maybe we'll do Indiegogo because you get the money if you don't meet the thing. And I said, we're going to do a video and we're going to raise the funds like a Kickstarter. So I wrote a Kickstarter script. And the only reason why I didn't say Kickstarter, I swear to you, the only reason why I didn't say Kickstarter, and I said, so become a backer today. This was supposed to be at Kickstarter, was because we were looking at Indiegogo. And we weren't sure if it was going to be Indiegogo or Kickstarter. We said, don't worry. The where it's hosted, we'll tell the people it's a Kickstarter. The video just needs to say, become a backer today. So we go to do a Kickstarter. And I say at GrooveCon last year, May 5th, May 3rd, 4th, and 5th. On May 3rd, I say, you guys want to see the video? Here's the video. Are you not happy with your current website, landing page, and marketing funnel builder? No? Well, neither were we. And that's why and then that video, I've heard it 1,000,001 times. We sold just Groove Pages for life for $497. Become a backer today. Help us back. Here's the thing. We had a table rush. We sold every single person in the room. It was like one of those things, like you like in a movie, everyone is around us going, hey, Mike, what about this? And how about if you build future products? So you get a buyer's order, you get a buyer's order, you get a buyer's order. And we went back, we called Matt Naus and we said, Matt, you're not going to believe what happened. The entire room closed. Before we put this on Kickstarter, let's take the money and just put it in our bank account. It's a hit. I'm going to go put up a little page, and we're going to mail our Groove Card customers. I think we did $400,000 in 3 days. And so now it's like, okay, maybe we don't need a Kickstarter. This thing is quote unquote a VSL in and of itself. So I go out to a couple of my friends, Ricky Mateka, Jeremy Gislason. They crush it. We're up to like $700,000. I was a backer, says Dwight. Thanks, Dwight Perry. So now it becomes this thing that we're going to do a launch for it. And now, because of the launch for Groove Pages, we end up doing, I don't know, I really don't remember, guys. I think 1.3 million, 1.1 million, but then we did it again a couple of months later. It might have been 1.7 million total. I do forget like the actual number. The bottom line is it gave us a war chest. And I remember John Cornetta saying, are we going to get to, what are we doing with that money? And I said, Jeff Bezos, baby, Amazon. It's a 5-year plan. Invest, developers. If anybody knows that joke. So I said, we're going to go out and we're going to get developers. So there was another fortuitous thing that happened at that time. Martin Bodeker, I love how lean and simple you kept anything. True inspiration. Thanks, Martin. So at this time, I've got my friend, Matt Ford, who's helping us do our Facebook ads at the time. And Matt says, hey, this is for sale. That's for sale. This webinar company is for sale. And I'll be honest, at this time, David, your question, the grand vision hadn't come together. I was looking to maybe partner with people and say, hey, partner, what, like I did with Matt, maybe we'll take over your shopping cart. Then after looking at it, we didn't like it. And there was a webinar platform and I didn't like it. So Matt Ford, coming to me with all these deals that I was just not impressed with, said, I know a brilliant programmer. And I was like, well, for what? He goes, well, you wanted to buy a webinar platform. He could build you. And he said, you could call it Groove Webinars. It wasn't really on my radar just yet. After 3 weeks, Matt's like, so listen, you want to talk with this guy or not? He's brilliant. He's and I'm like, who is he? He's done this and he's worked with a lot of marketers and Warrior Plus and JV Zoo. So I get on with him. This guy's name is Unroop. Many of you know him. For everything that Finn and Matt Nouse, or I should say Matt Nouse and Finn are for Groove Pages, the rest of the platform now, and Matt Soralta for Groove Cart and Max and Hosney over there, the rest of the platform, Groove Sell, Groove Affiliate, all coded by Unroop, and then Groove Mail, Groove Video, Groove Member. This was all Unroop managing that part, what we called Groove Apps. It was Groove Pages and the rest of Groove Apps. So he starts developing Groove Webinars, and I'll be honest, just going to talk openly. Matt Nouse is very, very slow to hire. Diligent. I give him a test. I want him to program something, and I'm already cutting a deal with Unroop. Like, hey, we're going to do this and this, and so I'm not even telling Matt that I've already committed to him. So Matt's like, it sounds too good to be true. He's talking a lot. I'd like to see his work, and so Unroop's like, so are we going to do this? I said, look, he wants you to do a test first. Why don't you do this? And Matt, truth be told, Unroop comes back a week later and shows Matt what he did, and Matt calls me and he said, this seems too good to be true. The only thing I need to ask him is if he did this by himself. That's how good Unroop was. And I'm going to just tell you, like, Unroop is the best developer I've ever seen. And there's no argument to that. He writes without bugs, and he was developing Groove Webinars. And then I told him, after Groove Webinars, we're going to do something called Groove Sell and Groove Affiliate. It's going to be like Samcart and Pay Kickstart and like Kartra. The whole plan hadn't come together. I bought the domain name Groove Apps because, hey, we're going to have more apps, and let's just make everybody log into one place. I had to tell Matt Nouse, don't develop it at Groove Pages, put it at Groove Apps. And now I'm negotiating with the guys that own Groove Funnels, who are an agency since 2014 when ClickFunnels came out. They'd be a groovy funnel agency, but they never did anything with it. And they went their own way. So I'm negotiating with them to try to buy that domain. We essentially did. So this is all the stuff that's happening. So now I tell Unroop, hey, Unroop, I want you to get off of Groove Webinars. I just realized if we're going to launch Groove Pages, I don't want to launch on Pay Kickstart. I don't want us to later have Groove Sell and then people will be saying, so why is my billing saying Pay Kickstart? So I said, I want you to start doing Groove Sell. And by the way, do you have any more talent that you could get hold of? Because we have some money I want to start developing. And then it was like, Unroop, do you think you can manage a tent pole for each one of these things? Get somebody working on Groove Mail. How many people? 3. Get people working on Groove Member and get people working on Groove Video. And then I want to do something for Groove Webinars, Groove Desk, Groove Blog, and all these different things. But that's going to come later. And then what ended up happening is we get Groove Funnels. We launch with Groove Pages and Groove Sell. COVID hits. We do the freemium model. The freemium model allows us to do, the upgrade offer. It starts bringing in so many people. I'll let you guys do the math, but when you bring in 2,500 people a day at 10%, you know how much that is. So if we're converting 5% of those people on day one at $1,397, we start making an insane amount of money on April 7th. The company changed on April 7th. It changed in March when COVID hit. We were in San Diego getting ready for Traffic and Conversion Summit. We had a $20,000 booth. We had an office at WeWork. I was going to be there for 6 weeks. We rented 6 Airbnbs. The entire company was coming. And we rented a club called Sidebar, and we were hosting the TNC after party. And the staff starts saying, I don't want to come. This is starting to look dangerous. I think they're going to cancel the event. And sure enough, it canceled. It became a pandemic, a national emergency. And I'm back home, and we're like, well, there goes our launch for Groove Funnels. So we see Uber conference. Matt's giving me a new link every day. Appear in Whereby, Slack, Skype, Zoom, GoToMeeting. Every day is a new link. Today it's Uber conference. Matt, what's with this link every single day? Well, I'm trying out different services, but they're giving us a free Premier account with no credit card. It's $299. I'm like, all right, whatever, let's do the meeting. And at the end of the meeting, it pops up. Uber conference message from the CEO. Because of COVID, lots of businesses are struggling and need to go virtual. We're doing our part. No credit card required. These little things start hitting me. I'm like, okay, so instead of launching in July with a $1 trial, ring 9 people on Skype. All right, guys, here's what I want to do. I want to take Groove Sell. On Roop, can we snap it off? And we'll take groovesell.com, and it's basically like Pay Kickstart, but we're going to give it away for free. And John will shoot a video for free. What do you mean? Well, are we going to make? No, for free. This is the way it's going to work. If we do anything wrong under COVID, we're going to get accused of being opportunistic under COVID. This needs to smell like a rat and come out like a rose. People need to be like, this sounds too good to be true, and it's got to get better and better and better. There can be no one-time offer. There can be no upsell. We've got to give. There can be no transaction fees. There can be no, I see what you did there. So what happens if this works? That's what we started saying. What do we have to lose? So we do Groove Sell for free, and we start getting ready to do this on April 4th. We were going to go live, April 4th or April 5th. And about 10 days into it, I'd ring the same group again. And I said, I got another idea. What? What do you want to give Groove Pages away for free? They laughed, and I said, yeah. No, guys, you're going too far. There's no reason. I said, listen, we're not going to give Groove Pages away for free. We'll give Groove Pages away for free, but they don't get a custom domain, but at least now they could use it. And it's an onboarding model. And they can't use coachdeb.com. They'll have to use coachdeb.groovepages, and that's going to hurt a little bit. But we'll give it away for free. And who's going to complain? All right. 3 days before the launch. Yeah, what's up? Okay, I was thinking about this. We need to give custom domains. No, you're crazy. All right. Okay, one's not going to work. We're going to do 3. You're crazy. So what we ended up doing is we did Groove Sell, and we didn't tell them they were getting Groove Pages. We made an upsell where the URL was groovesell.com/not-n.upsell. And it looked like an upsell page because we wanted people to smell like something's not right. You're giving us, there's got to be a catch. So as soon as they signed up, boom, there's an upsell page with me standing right there. And I go, what are we doing here? Why does this say this is not an upsell? Well, listen, this isn't an upsell. What we've decided to do is give you our flagship product, Groove Pages, for free as well. Now, it's not completely free. You don't get unlimited domains. We're not going to give you one. We're going to give you 3. And then, so when people signed up for that process, they were like, oh my God, this is crazy. And you know, everybody was saying, Mike, how are we going to upgrade people? They didn't get what I was saying. I said, MailChimp is a $100 million a year company. How do they make their money? I was like, I don't understand. What are you saying? Active Campaign is a $50 million a year company, maybe more. How do they make their money? What's your saying? If all we did was sell email, we could be a $50 or $100 million a year company. But think of what we can do to the competition by giving this away for free and this and how many users. So we said, look, it's an experiment. We could pull it down like after a week. Now, April 5th, we were supposed to go live. I'm up now for 2 days straight. And this truly happened. I called Michelle and I said, I'm not feeling well. I'm feeling numbness in my left arm, and that's a bad sign. Call the partners. We're not going live today, and stand by. I need to lie down, or I might need to go to the hospital. I was working myself that hard, literally, you know, one of these types of things for 2 days. You know, just we didn't have the team that we have now. David wasn't with us. Simon wasn't with us. Deb was. It was basically the dev team, me, John, Matt, and Donna. That was it. Like we were doing everything. If something needed, and of course Joe, and you know other people, but you know, in support, and John Garcia and stuff. And now I feel like I need to name everybody. They're going to be upset, but we get it. It wasn't the team we are today. So April 5th, we're supposed to go live. We don't, and it's just us. There's no affiliates. April 6th, we're supposed to go live. We don't make it. I'm just running out of gas. We're not going live again today. No, we're going to go live tomorrow. I think so. I'm going to have to be up all night to get this done. I'm doing this. I'm editing that VSL video. I'm putting everything up, making a one-time offer video on a whiteboard. Got bags under my eyes. And if you upgrade to this and in the future products, blah, 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 blah. And basically, we're setting up what became known as, you know, that, you know, basically everything everybody saw till April 1st. And we're setting up the butterfly marketing. And I got to make the affiliate video. And everybody's got their stuff to do. But I've got to publish these pages. You know, Donna will laugh how crazy this sounds now, but all this stuff had to get done through me. And I'm building it. It's April 7th. It's 9 a.m. I call everybody. I'm like, and I look like shit. And I'm like, all right, guys, we're live. And John goes, how do you think we're going to do today? And I said, well, John, you know, almost everybody on our list is probably a backer already. And, you know, we don't do a lot of opt-in marketing. We've got a list of, 3,800 people plus my previous list. So, I mean, what are we going to get? 700 opens to an email, and 700 opens means 1/3 of them we're going to take. Only 1/3 of the people. I said, yeah, not everybody is going to, just because something's free, like, you know, you can't get 100% opt-in rate. So let's say 35% of the people or 25% of the people want it. We're going to be looking at 300 people that are going to sign up. 300 people that will sign up, not buy it. 300 people that will sign up in 24 hours. And I remember John saying, and I said, well, John, this isn't a launch. We're just releasing something with our list. If it goes well, we'll get the metrics. We'll go to the affiliates. I said, so don't expect anything. I said, if we close 10%, let's hope that's 30. We'll do good. You know, we'll make $30,000, $45,000 today, but it's not going to happen when we hit the cart. Don't start hitting refresh. And I don't want to set your expectations. I don't know that we're going to have that by tomorrow. But look, I got to get some rest. And do me a favor, guys. I haven't slept in like 4 days, and I'm shot, and I'm really not feeling well. Do not wake me up. I'm going to sleep for about 24 hours unless there's an emergency. All right, Mike. Make the page live, go live, and I'm done, and I'm out. And I literally do one of these, like Wally. If you've seen Wally, and I get over to my bed, and I'm out before as I'm going down, I'm passed out. That was 10 o'clock by the time I hit the bed. At 2 o'clock, I feel something touching my hand, and Michelle's standing in front of me. I'm like, what? And she's like, they need you. And look, guys, I was cranky. I probably F-bombed. I said, you F, I can't even get some sleep. Oh my goodness. Is there a problem? Is it 911? They're saying there's a major problem. There's a problem. And I'm like, oh my goodness. My effing laptop. And I open up my laptop and I see something that freaked me out. We were supposed to have 300 signups. We're 4 hours into this thing. I log in and there's 13,000 signups. And I'm like, that's not even possible. We don't even have that many people on our list. Now I go into the Skype group and I'm seeing, oh my God, they're talking about it in this forum. They're banning people in this forum, in this Facebook group. Everybody's talking about it. Look at the reviews. It's going crazy. There's already people making YouTube videos about it. There's a Reddit thread. It's going crazy. We just had 1,000 signups in the last half hour. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Let me check the shopping cart. Oh my God, no sales. This is a major flop. This is a flop. This is a complete flop. We gave away too much. We gave nobody any reason to log in. Let me get on. All right, guys, what's going on? Well, there's good news, bad news, all this type of stuff. But why aren't we making any sales? We don't know. Everything is going through. We have Unroop looking at it, but we just found out like a few minutes ago that there might be a problem. I'm like, yeah, no, I guys, I hope there's a problem, because if we have 13,000 signups and nobody upgraded, we're in deep shit. And so I'm looking, and all of a sudden I go, guys, you're not going to believe this. Let me share my screen. What? We're in draft mode. We never made the product live. We never made the product live. People were checking out and getting free upgrades. They just automatically just, hey, look who it is.
It's Rich Shepard.
I'm
It's Rich Shepard.
Over to Rich. I didn't know Rich was here. He says he's been listening the whole time. So this is where it wraps up, right? So I said, hey guys, hold on just a second. Let me just make this live. So how did we get 13,000? What's going on? Oh, they're talking about it here, and this is happening, and they're banning people in the competitors' Facebook group, and everybody's talking, and it's just going crazy. The butterfly market. Hey guys, in the 3 minutes that we were just talking, we just made three sales, 4 sales, and then I'd be talking 5 sales, 6 sales. The second we started making. So we start making money, and then I think everybody's done this in their life, right? You know, you're like, if this continues to happen over the next 24 hours times 365, hey, that's how much more we're going to make as a company. You know, we started getting excited about the math, but that's when the company changed. On April 7th, we started making an insane amount of money, and we basically grew the company from $100,000. You know, I think $100,000 a month to probably $700,000 to $750,000 in overhead, and about $500,000 of that is employee salary, and about half of the employee salary is developers, and we have close to 70 developers now, maybe more. I'll have to get an exact count. And once that started happening, we reached out to a company in India. We started an offshore development center. They have a dedicated building, a dedicated team of people. And myself and Matt and John and Matt and Unroop basically got together, and we worked with them. We put a spreadsheet down of 37 different positions that we said we wanted. We want an iOS developer, an app developer. We want 2 people on the SDK, 3 additional people on GrooveMail. We need 2 additional UI experts. We need this, and we need this, and we need somebody for GrooveCart. And we're going to now we can finally do this with GrooveCart and all these types of things. And then, folks, there are things that we didn't even, that haven't even been announced yet. We're on schedule. We're trying to now add to GrooveMail, GrooveSurvey, GrooveDesk, GrooveBlog, and Groove Calendar that are all going to be coming out. Those are the products that will be left. You can now add onto that Groove funnel mapping. So you're going to be able to do like with Funnelytics, not the analytics part, but the funnel part. Drag and say, I want this, and there'll be an up page, and then you could link that to a Groove page, and then we're going to have your analytics basically tell you how many opt-ins and conversion rates. You're going to see it in a mapping software. So that's going to be coming. We're adding a pipe drive style component. We're calling it Groove Pipe CRM, so that people that have sales floors will be able to do call center type things. We also have a big announcement coming Monday. We're going to be doing a live stream. We've become a major investor in a major software company. That's all I'm saying. A big announcement coming on Monday on that. We can't wait to let the cat out of the bag. Contracts are signed. It's a done deal. It's going to be adding a lot to the company. Groove itself, the Groove Digital company itself. We're excited to talk about that, and there'll be some great things for everybody that's already a member of Groove that you're going to be excited when that comes out. So David, if you're still there, I see you off. You're probably catching up on Skype and checking in. But as you're coming back on the camera, to answer your question, now we bring it full circle. How did you come up with this idea for Groove funnels? It was only because I had created Kartra, Webinar Jam, and EverWebinar before with other partners, and saw the good and the right ways to do things, and learned from the mistakes and the Steve Jobs metaphor. I'm going to do Next Computer, and we're going to do it bigger and better. And they actually bought Steve back, and Next became what we know today as OS X. In that sense, we were the whatever it was, 1992 Olympic basketball team, the dream team, the best team ever assembled, with you folks that are here right in front of me, David, Simon, Coach Deb, and with my partners, with Joe Jablonski, Donna, Finn, Matt, and John, our incredible support people, our incredible marketing people, our incredible social media team, support of the entire team, our advertising team, our media team. We have become an unstoppable force due to the team, our dedication to our customers, and of course our incredible customers and affiliates that believe in us. We don't take that lightly. There is no Groove without customers. You folks reach into your wallet and you vote, with your wallet. You basically say, I have faith in you. We made a promise to you that seemed unbelievable. And it's one thing to dream, but we couldn't have done this without capital. And we decided not to raise money with investors. We decided to raise money with our members using a formula called backers. And everybody on this stream that's upgraded or will upgrade has helped us build the dream team and build this incredible company. So I think, right there, that pretty much uses my hour, but I think it was a great use of the time to bring us down, memory lane here and talk about how Groove became a company. Like I said, there's Coke, there's Pepsi. The market will decide. We are going to let, our job is to serve the community. Our job is to wake up every day, put our feet on the ground, and say, how do we create the best software platform in the world? My job is to look out for my employees, my team, my partners, and my family, and my father, and the people that are important to me. And by doing that, it's saying, how do I provide value to people? And so I'm not concerned about, and nor should I be concerned about Pay Kickstart, Samcart, ClickFunnels, Infusionsoft, Kartra, or ThriveCart, Thrive Themes. Why should I be concerned about them? They don't wake up every day thinking about us, and they shouldn't. They should be concerned about their customers. We do not wake up in this company looking to put anybody out of business. But I'm going to end it basically with this, just for a little bit of perspective. If anybody wants to, say that, we're competing with, ClickFunnels, because of the name Groove Funnels, then they don't know my history. I'd rather be accused of ripping off myself than ripping off ClickFunnels. I've created Kartra before. I've created Webinar Jam, and I've created EverWebinar. My inspiration to create Groove Funnels was to create a better Kartra, a better ClickFunnels, and a better Webinar Jam and EverWebinar. The same way Steve Jobs created the Lisa and the Macintosh. And when he found himself out of that company, he created Next Computer. It would be silly for anybody to say to him, look at him, he's trying to compete with Apple. He was Apple. He was Apple. And if people don't know about me, I'll let them know. I am not a marketer. I'm a software developer. Everything I've ever done online was software. I created the first pretty link tracking software the industry had ever seen. It was called PowerLink Generator. That was copied into what we know today in WordPress as Pretty Links, or I think that's what it's called. Is that what it's called, Pretty Links?
Yeah.
We created Viral Friend Generator. We have the first Tell a Friend software for marketers. I created Butterfly Marketing, which was the first dynamic website building content management system, CRM, and one-click upsell in the industry. It was awesome before its time because WordPress came out, and that was probably the better way. And I didn't develop that for WordPress. I created Evergreen Business System, and the reason why it has Evergreen here, my friend Rich wrote a report called EEDM, and I think it stood for Evergreen Event Driven Marketing. And he had the word evergreen there. So that's why there's Evergreen Business System. And that's why there's Ever Webinar. And that's why the word ever is tied into Evergreen. It comes from Rich. So I did Webinar Jam. I did Deal Guardian. I did Kartra. So I'm reclaiming with my partners and our team what was ours, what we set out to do. If somebody thinks that I woke up one day and I saw ClickFunnels and I said I'm going to compete with them, they don't know history.
Mm-hmm.
Deal Guardian, Webinar Jam, and Ever Webinar were out before ClickFunnels. Kartra was in development before ClickFunnels, and this is history. I'll say it with a smile on my face because we're all allowed to compete. But Russell came to us and said, "Hey, can you help me launch ClickFunnels?" As he did with many other affiliates, and he spoke at our event at Genesis, Marketing Genesis Live. And somewhere, I'm not sure where I have it, somewhere around here, I have an award that says #1 ClickFunnels Affiliate of the Year. And we were the #1 ClickFunnels affiliate because we did $250,000 in sales or commissions. I think it was commissions. And we have a plaque for it. And a free car, 2 free cars that we never claimed. We felt it would be a little cheesy. So when we were doing Kartra, Russell was sitting at Andy Jenkins' backyard with Todd, showing us ClickFunnels and asked us to promote. And he said, "Will you guys help us get this off the ground?" And Andy Jenkins said, "Listen, we're doing Kartra, and Kartra was just going to be selling your products and email marketing. That's what it was going to be called, Deal Guardian Enterprise." And he said, "We're going to help you do it, Russell, but you're just going to be a page builder, right? And you're not going to sell products and have an affiliate platform." And Russell says, no, we're just going to be an affiliate. So we got behind it, and we did it because we didn't see a threat, because he was going to be a page builder and Kartra was going to be just email and products. And we did $250,000 in sales. And 3 months later, Russell announced Actionetics and Backpack. And Hector showed it to me, and I said, "Oh my goodness, he's actually selling products and an affiliate program in email marketing." And he beat us to the market, and we helped him launch it, and Kartra's not going to be ready yet. So I went to Andy, and I was scared a little bit, to be honest, because I was closer with Russell, and I brought that in, and I said, "Andy, take a look at this." And Andy went like this. "What are you showing me?" And I said, "He's going to be competing with it." He said, "Well, he has every right to do what he wants to do. He's got his own shareholders. He's got to do what he needs to do. What did you think we could hold it against him that he can't develop his software platform? That wouldn't be right." I said, "Oh, I'm glad to see you taking it so well." And Andy said, "Well, boys, you know what that means? I guess we're in the page building business." And I said, "Oh, I like where you're going, Andy. I like where you're going." And that's why at Kartra we reached out to Matt Nouse, because Russell gave us the permission to create Kartra pages when he decided to compete with Kartra after he said he wouldn't. And these things are smiles. These are things that we'll laugh about and tell these stories, at events. These are fine. But if somebody thinks that after I've done, Evergreen Business System, EverWebinar, Webinar Jam, Kartra, and all of these different things that one day I woke up and I said, I see what Russell's doing with ClickFunnels. I'm going to compete with him. They don't know history. They don't know history.
So. Well, and the other thing too, Mike, because I hear some of these thoughts of, oh my gosh, you can't create that because that already exists, or someone else has this and you can't create it. Competition is good in the industry. It keeps everyone accountable to keep upping the level for the user.
Well,
otherwise, what you have is a monopoly, right? What's that? Who
was first? Who was first, right? Before GrooveFunnels, there was ClickFunnels. Before ClickFunnels, there was Lead Pages. Before Lead Pages, there was Optimized Press. So this can go down the line, and people can say, oh, they did this from here and they did this from here, but they could have said the same. When it comes to Aweber, there's GetResponse, there's MailChimp, there's ActiveCampaign.
Right.
There was one shopping cart. Then there was Infusionsoft and Entreport. The beautiful thing is when there's the iPhone, there's Android. Let the market decide. The market, competition breeds better innovation.